FOMO is an acronym for the fear of missing out. It's not a new human experience. However, today's society has more channels than ever that foster this fear.
To feeling FOMO when you're home, you're isolated, and you're looking at people's social media, which we know is
not an accurate representation of reality.
You're living your best life on social media.
Hello, podcastnesia. So we are from Group 3 of EAC Class B. Would like to share something very interesting for us. So we're going to talk about FOMO. What is FOMO? Maybe you guys have heard about that a lot, right? Now we're gonna discuss about it. And hi guys, I'm Naomi, and definitely I'm not alone. I'm here with my psychology friends who are really, really cool. So I'm gonna introduce them to you guys. So first of all, there are Siti. Hi Siti.
Hello.
And the next one is Shuzu. Hi Shuzu.
Hi.
Maura. Hi Maura.
Hi.
The next one is Eva. Hi Eva.
Hi.
And the last one is Kaka. Hi Kaka.
Hi.
So without any further ado, let's check it out. First of all, I want to ask, what is FOMO, guys?
Okay, FOMO is a social phenomenon characterized by a high need to be connected and fear of being left behind. From a psychological perspective, the phenomenon of FOMO is related to Maslow's hierarchy theory, where the need for belonging is considered a basic need. So, what do you think about that, Siti?
Yeah, as far as I know, FOMO itself has several impacts, including social exhausting, social comparison, and affects welfare. Social exhausting is a condition when a person who experiences information overload and is overwhelmed due to the addictive use of social media. Social comparison is the most common impact where teenagers like us especially feel insecure because they compare themselves with the figures that appear on their screens. This has a bad effects on mental health where they become obsessed with imitating other people. Finally, FOMO affects a person's well-being. This includes depression or anxiety that is detected through negative emotion when people interact with each other. This is inseparable from the previous impacts.
Wow, so many negative impact. It makes me curious why this phenomenon could happen, especially in the pandemic era. I think it's because in the pandemic era, there's a lot of restriction rule, like social distancing, travel ban, and work or school from home. So people tend to be more lonely and feel isolated. Also, in this pandemic era, a lot of bad things happen, such as getting fired from work, losing friends or even family members, feeling anxious wherever going out, and having much smaller personal space, especially when that people live with big family members in one household.
Then what's questioning me is actually how can all of those situations be linked with the FOMO phenomenon? Well, I think after that, to cope with their difficulties, people start to use social media, and the initial intention was varied. For example, to overcome their stress or to connect with friends and families, to seek social support, and maybe to be part of a community or society. So this is where the problem comes from. People then start using social media excessively. They start to feel anxious about missing the trend, start to compare themselves to others, which I think this is very unhealthy comparison because in social media, people tend to show their best image, right? And it can be so tiring to compare yourself with them. And people start to afraid of being excluded or maybe afraid to be left behind and need more attention to feel satisfied.
So to make it easy to understand, I wanna give the most relatable example about FOMO that very common happen to us as a student. At this moment, we all know that social media is our most used platform to communicate with others. Because of social media too, we can see anything so easily, including people achievement, participation of some organization, committee, etc. We cannot lie about the fact that we could join another committee or organization just because of FOMO, or just because our friend asked if we join an event, simply because we don't want to feel left behind them.
Yeah, and I have another simple example that I want to talk about is those trends that have appeared since the pandemic started. Even the most irrational thing that we could think might be a trend. The latest trends that I saw on TikTok was about the orangutan that pulled visitor shirt. A lot of people have made a parody or video copying that video, not only netizen but also public figure, artists, and also made that video. For some people, these kinds of trends might not be important, but for most of teenagers, TikTok trend is everything, and they must follow the trend so they won't feel left behind.
Yeah, that's right. And I want to give one more example that often happen while pandemic is people so easily believe everything that they saw on social media. Not only that, after seeing something, they will forget the fact that what they saw is only a highlight of someone's life. It is not a reflection of everything that happened in their life. Like what Naomi said before, that people show their best image on social media. This is about the mindset that people need to change because when this kind of phenomenon happens, it could affect many aspects of somebody's life.
Okay, because the FOMO phenomenon is very complex, so we need to examine its future through the level of analysis, which consists of biological, psychological, and social explanation. Well, what do you guys think about this?
I've read from journals and some article in Google from, from biological point of view. FOMO can be related to the bandwagon effect or the tendency people have to adopt a certain behavior, style, or attitude because everyone else is doing it. This is cognitive bias that influence people's decision making. Generally, people find it strange to be different from the majority of people and feel afraid of being ostracized. Soon they finally decide to follow suit.
Yeah, and I think from the psychological point of view, as I had mentioned before, there are difficult situations during the pandemic, and it's not uncommon to be a stressor. Because the pandemic is out of control, people usually use emotion-focused coping mechanism. They reduce stress by shifting focus from the source of the problem, one of which is by accessing social media. But this mechanism often causes FOMO. FOMO is also related to Maslow's theory of the need to belong. Well, research conducted by Bayens et al. In 2016 stated that individuals who experienced high levels of FOMO came from individuals who also had a high need to belong.
Okay, lastly, I want to give an additional explanation from social point of view. I read from the journal that FOMO relates to bubble attachment theory. Research conducted by Ferro and Holte in 2020 state that people who experience FOMO usually come from individuals with insecure attachment, more specifically anxious attachment. So, inconsistent parenting patterns in childhood make individuals unsure of what to expect and eventually afraid of being abandoned and become thirsty for attention.
Okay, now that we all know the definition of FOMO, why FOMO happens, and even the example of FOMO, but has it ever happened to you guys?
Yeah, I think everybody have experienced FOMO, and actually the last time I've experienced FOMO was a few weeks ago. And so what I'm gonna saying about is FOMO is often happen to us, right?
Right. Yeah, I actually have some story about FOMO, and because Maura had mentioned the first story, which is the effect of COVID-19 pandemic on social media, so I'll go to another story, and this happened a few days ago. As we all know, COVID-19 regulation is not that strict anymore. Schools, restaurants, malls, even movie theaters are open. Talking about movie theaters, do you guys remember movies called Doctor Strange and KKN Desa Penari? Yeah, these two are the most talked about, at least on my social media. And at that time, every story or tweets I've seen talk about the films, like they post a photo of a ticket or their rating for the films. And as a person who hasn't watched the movies, it makes me think that I fall behind others, and their stories or tweets indirectly make me want to watch those movies so I can catch up with my friends later. Do you guys feel the same, or perhaps you guys watch those movies I've mentioned earlier? Yeah.
Um, Okay, actually, I feel the same because I haven't watched this movie, but I'll share my experience too about FOMO. UGM is located in Yogyakarta, right? And I am from Yogyakarta. Who is me? Okay, I expect you guys to feel the same. So many of our friends who aren't from Yogyakarta have already settled here, right? And start together outside, and it seems so fun. Again, I feel like I can't miss it. I want to join them, but in fact, I can't because I'm not there. At some point, it's so sad and funny at the same time.
And that's actually very often to me, happen very often to me, and I think we have experienced FOMO at least once in a lifetime, right? Especially in the pandemic era. So, how to overcome FOMO? Social media is the biggest factor that can lead to FOMO. In this pandemic era, we use social media as a platform that we can communicate with each other. But as Naomi has mentioned before, because of social media as well, we could see anything so easily, including people achievement, etc. FOMO might be an age-old problem, but social media can add fuel to the fire. Social media takes you to an unrealistic world where you start comparing your life with it. So if you find social media makes you feel envious of others people's life or unsatisfied with your own life, try to limit your time on social media site.
Well, you are absolutely right, Situ, and your solution is a good idea. And maybe we can also create relationship and find new knowledge such as find friends and find information that can help us think from various sides. So we can look from the other person's perspective and feel what the other person feels. Furthermore, we can also overcome FOMO by starting to change our perception. Sometimes we tend to forget that what we saw in social media is only takes a small part of the other life and mostly it's their good side.
Yeah, I agree. I think we usually feel that other people's life are better, like they have no problems, like they have a perfect life, but in fact, we don't know the other side of them. We don't even know things that happen behind the social media image. So you can try to change your perceptions, which previously thought that other people's life were the most perfect, to a perception where all of those people had their own difficulty. So we don't have to be afraid to miss a moment or being left behind because each person has their own moment. Yeah, okay, I think that's all for today, guys. We already talked everything about FOMO, and I really hope that this podcast could be useful for anyone that was taking their time to hear this. And remember what I said before, we have our own time. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.